Anyhow,
No
so
fees.
um,
We're gonna go low tech.
uh,
Um,
Daniel Shepard, absolutely. Please come on. And Josue. So, Alexandros, Happy New Year to you too. By the way, the last time we spoke, you were running to catch a train. Did you catch it or did you miss it? We cannot hear you, but I see you have taken yourself off mute.
That's the moment. Maybe now it's better. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
now it's better.
Yes, it was positive. I got it. Yes. Thank you very much. Now
Okay.
I watch you from Greece here, from my parents' home.
Oh, nice.
Um, we have sun. We have. It was nice celebration days, and we have here in Thessaloniki a new subway. It was one long project, 30 years long, because of archaeological founds. It took really long, but now we have it. We have subway here in my city,
That's
metropolitan subway, metro. I mean, yeah.
uh-huh. Okay. Well, this
How
uh,
was in the States the weather? How
I mean, the states are big. It was fine by me.
It was great in
This
San Antonio.
this
raining,
week
eh?
is going to be different than usual because we're all participating. What Sean and I wanted to do was simply say Happy New Year and what does this year look like for you? What does success look like for you? And how can we, your brothers and sisters, help you get there? That's the entire point of today's presentation, which isn't a presentation.
Perfect.
So let's see. I think we can, well, it's going to be difficult. I was going to say, let's do this alphabetically, but that doesn't seem to be the way they sort these things. Oh, I see, because of who's on mute and who's not on mute. That makes it a bit more difficult, but I can navigate this. Alphabetically, Alexandros, you are first. So we would like you to tell us what
Yes.
you're working on and how, if at all, any one of us on the phone through our network or through our own personal sets of skills and talents can help you do in 2025 what you aspire to do.
Yes. At the moment, I just look for a new opportunity for a new project. As we know all together, the situation at the moment is a little unsafe for a lot of startups and medtech startups and middle-sized companies. We see the phenomenon of outsourcing everything to one. So small startups, they want to be owner of one product, and they want practically to switch everything, the development, the certification process, and the following after the aftermarket to another agencies. Yeah, this is one new situation that we see. Uh, I see it now also, for example, what I see now as next step is a new topic is this cannabis vaporizers. They are a little more popular, I see more and more. We have electronic cigarettes, but now also vaporizers. I don't know now if in the under FDA they are as medical device, medical cannabis, I mean. But they are also now in the European market running, where you can help me now to your question. At the moment, I cannot answer something precisely. I just wait. What I can tell you, what I can share with you is that also big giants like Roche and Novartis, which I have very near to me in Basel, they want to start big giant projects practically to bring the combi devices under MDR certification. And you can imagine there are so big cross-functional teams. I have been interviewed. I have been shortlisted from a lot of candidates, which is something I honor. But to go forward, one big giant like that to certify under MDR something, there are so many managers involved and so many people, and this will take time. Yeah, this is something that we will see practically in the 25 they have a lot of pressure. They want really to bring combi devices under MTR certification with notified body position, opinion, etc.
I'm going to
Another
redirect then to, I'm going to go out of alphabetical order and naturally, you the man, you the med. Richard, can you talk to Alexandros about this at all and what you're working on, and perhaps at the same time weave in how we can help you achieve your 2025.
Okay.
yes.
Actually, you caught me half asleep there. So
I have that effect on people.
it's a gift. It's a gift.
Hmm.
So we're working with a few big clients, right? I won't give names, etc. But one of them only has 4,000 UDIs. They're going through the whole MDR process, and at the same time, they're trying to get their data ready to go into UDAMED. And it is an absolute nightmare. There is more managers than you've had hot dinners. They've got, we'll say, overseas development without giving away the exact countries rather than disparaging certain groups. They've got overseas development, which don't seem to understand what they want. This is on the IT side. Their products apparently are all good to go, except the notified bodies are giving them different information as to where they should go with their EMDN codes, etc. They're saying, we'll accept level 4, but that doesn't matter. When it gets to adding their data to UDAMED, it has to be at the lowest level. So there's all sorts of arguments going on. There is people in the company who say, well, the EMDN code that suits our product is actually level 3 or 4, and there's 7 on the level. And I'm trying to explain to them that you cannot add the data to UDAMED without the lowest level. And they're trying to explain to me that obviously the European Commission is completely wrong and they should allow it. So there's these ongoing arguments. As for how to fix it, I'd nearly fire the middle layer of management and just keep going. Because a lot of people seem to be slowing things down to try and, I don't know, maybe justify their positions or something, but 4,000 devices, from UDAMED's point of view, that should not take long. From the MDR point of view, these guys should have all their ducks in a row anyway. It's not like the MDR is new, it's been around since 2017. 7 years to get your crap together.
Yeah, 7 years of delay. Well,
Yeah.
how then, if at all, can our group be helpful for you?
For Alexandros.
No, well, for either of you.
Alexandros
yes,
is going to need a lot of people to bounce ideas
yes,
off.
yes. What I would like practically to mention here in our very interesting webinar in the beginning of the year, and I know that this podcast is listened and followed from a lot of people in the medtech industry, is that somebody listen to that and really take the initiative practically to help the medtech startups and middle-sized companies. How? To offer practically one for free service from the European Union, that this service should practically answer the first questions. Why this? Because if this happen with private consultant services, very quickly the startups are out of the budget. Yeah? The charts. Of course, we are in this market. We want also to be involved to charge, but to help that something really continues to run, yeah, and not practically freeze everything. Something equivalent like in the FDA should start from the European Union, that, let's say, till the level that somebody classifies, defines the intended use, and all this that we all together know, the design input deliverables that also FDA in one submitting needs, that this can be answered to one startup practically for free from one European service. This will help, and I'm finished, that they start, let's say, with one specific speed to run, and later they can jump also to private services like us here in this market. Yeah, this will help, in my opinion. Yeah,
Thank you,
thank you very
Alexandros.
much.
And I encourage everyone
Yeah.
to, maybe keep running notes of what people have said so you can reach out to them afterwards so we can get through everyone. Next alphabetically is your Italian friend and mine, Andre Domini.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Buon Nono.
Happy New Year.
Buon anno, buon anno. So we've noticed actually there appears to be more positivity because we've gotten more requests now for quotes, both for our engineering side as well as our contract manufacturing. So we do see that some companies now seem to be loosening the reins, which is a positive sign. And we've actually issued a number of quotes just in the past couple of weeks for additional work, both on contract manufacturing for electronic medical devices, as well as development work. We've had a number of physicians and so forth that have contacted us for developing products. So, we do see some increase in potential business, and certainly if there's some specialties that we may be able to use. I've got one client that's got a product that has a combination of Class 1 and Class 2 medical device in the United States that wants to submit it as a combination device. So I might be reaching out to somebody that can help with the whole 510K process on that once we get to that.
Well, that's encouraging. And so what if anything can we do for you?
No, just if you have anybody that needs something manufactured on the electronic side or engineering development work, we're certainly open to that. Again, when it comes time for some of those 510K applications that are in front of us, we might be reaching out for some of that regulatory support.
Okay. And for those who don't know, what, if any, category would you say you excel in? You don't contract manufacture everything.
No, it's electronic medical devices, a lot of therapeutic devices, energy type devices, as well as some diagnostic devices that rely on infrared and radio frequency and so forth.
Okay, thank you, Andre. Next up, we jump through B and C up to D for Daniel Shepard. Hey.
Keep it simple, Joe. Can you just lower the interest rates? That's all I'm asking for.
Okay, that's outside, I think, our expertise, maybe my.
You could make the cost of capital just a little cheaper for people out there. No, I mean, we had a really good year at MedWorld Advisors. I think we talked about one of the deals we closed just a couple of months ago, doing over $200 million in transaction value last year. I think we're just always looking for introductions. If you know any business owners that are looking to exit their business or sell their technologies to a larger strategic, always just looking for those introductions to have those conversations.
Do you anticipate that the cost of capital is going to eat into your business this year?
Well, I think it has slowed things down, right? If you just look at the M&A activity, volume has been down. So it's already kind of chipped away at some of the overall, transaction volume. I think everyone's a little optimistic it's going to improve this year. Everyone is hoping that those interest rates are going to come down and make the cost of capital a little bit more affordable. Also hoping for more exits, so that frees up cash to also try to and increase the M&A volume. And we're seeing more people try to test the IPO waters, or at least start to file the paperwork to get there. So there's a tepid optimism, but we also had this same optimism at the beginning of 2024. We're hoping 2025 isn't the same false start that 2024 was.
Fair enough. Thank you, Daniel. So I think introductions will be a common theme that we see, but not so for Edward Capabianca. I don't imagine introductions are your critical path.
No, we're always looking for introductions, Joe. But so first of all, to the facial hair, you're catching me peak beard. I do this every Christmas, and much when the tree comes down, so does the facial hair. So you may not recognize me next week.
This is just 3 weeks growth.
Yeah. This is.
I think I
Anyway,
speak on behalf of everyone. We are impressed with your manliness. Please continue.
I say keep the beard.
anyway,
Very,
so
very handsome. Keep the
He
beard.
is very
Oh,
handsome. That's
thank you
undeniable.
very much. Thank you very much. So for us, yeah, 2024, we had a lot of great success. We actually managed to get this little device CE marked under MDR. So we're always looking for distribution partners. We signed up 3 last year, Italy, Benelux, and Denmark. But we're always looking for other countries. In fact, over the holidays, we got an email from somebody in Greece, Alessandro. So I might be reaching out to you to find out if they are real people. But our device is for urology, and so we're looking for people who have that sort of experience locally in countries. The other thing I'll say is that last year we actually have started putting this into patients for real. And one of the most exciting things is that the most recent patient who was treated with our device only supposed to be in for 4 weeks. It's already being used off-label. We've had to, send a note to the urologist because the urologist after 4 weeks said, he's getting his surgery in 3 weeks. Just leave it in. And so we'll be interested to see what that device looks like when it comes out in actually next week. So coming into 2025, Daniel, we might want some introductions because there's some additional news that is going to be coming out, hopefully in Q1, which might make us very attractive to some of the big players. Can't say a lot more just yet, but we've got a clinical study starting in Q1 as well. So lots of good things.
The idea of you being even more attractive.
If you allow me just to ask something in this point, do you know, for example, in the States, exactly for one urology device, what exactly the insurance reimbursement is, so that you know how much you can charge the patient? Because I remember from my sales times here in Greece, it was important, for example, what can the insurance help and what you pay as patient. Yeah.
So where our device sits is basically, we call it the best of both worlds between an indwelling Foley catheter, which unfortunately has quite low cost because it's quite a commodity. But also we compete with intermittent catheters. And when you think about a month's worth of intermittent catheters, that's what one of our devices would cost. And what that means is that patient I just referred to, who's going to have used one device for 7-8 weeks, it's then half the cost if that person was using intermittent catheters for all that period of time. Yeah. Now, how different countries' reimbursements might accept our device is going to be some work that we may need to do. And that's, I know, Nick Anderson, we've talked a lot about the health economics issues. Yeah. And so that clinical study I referred to that we're doing with a group of NHS hospitals across the UK is going to begin to build for us exactly that sort of data.
Thank you very much. Yes, I just wanted to bring in the table this word that it could be also foreseen one inspiration for webinars in this year. These 2 topics are running now in my head: reimbursement of insurances across different countries and how this can be transparent to one startup during the beginning of the development, because this decides a lot for the further development. For example, in Germany, they have one relative transparent index. Yeah, this is not everywhere, and this is one interesting topic to analyze, how this insurance reimbursement works. And the other topic, what I would like to bring is to suggest to bring that we go also to the direction to pharma pack. Yeah, the pharma pack industry runs very stable in Switzerland at the moment. Yeah, they are looking for validation specialists, certifications. They are looking for CSV engineers. So if we go a little to this direction, excuse me, I have to switch the phone there. It will be very interesting for everyone. Yeah.
Thank you.
George, you're next. And I owe you a phone call, I know. Perhaps you can stay on after the official call is over and we can talk a little bit here. Are you a chess player?
Absolutely. In fact, and later today, I'm headed off to the Boston Chess Congress this weekend. And,
Really?
hoping to not lose too many rating points against the 10-year-olds that are up and coming.
What is your ELO?
I'm around 1700 right now. I'm not a grandmaster or anything like that, but I am an avid player and I love the game.
So what's your chess.com handle?
G Duval,
I'm big client.
big client. There you go. I'll have to jot that down.
Well,
What's your ELO or USCF rating?
yeah, no, the best I ever was around 1500, and now I'm struggling to get back to 1200. I can't explain it. But my Zachary turns 23 this month, and he works at chess.com.
Oh, okay.
He does their social media, and he's a 2000.
Yeah. Well, a few years ago, I was also an avid chess blogger. If you're really into nerdism, and I had the handle Blunder Prone, and was always about on the how to improve and how adults can improve and try to beat these kids that are just kicking us. But anyways, but that's my diversion. Truth be known, my goals for this year is to get a job. I've been gainfully unemployed for 10 months. My last corporate role went away back in March. And I've been keeping myself busy by reviving a passion project through this consulting firm that I'm trying to build off the ground. So maybe I'll hopefully to get a paying consulting gig or back in the arena for a corporate role. For
those who don't know your background, what is your sweet spot?
So I've been an innovation leader for about 15 years, working in medical devices. I was with Boston Scientific for 6 of those years, driving new projects and new innovations in endoscopy and looking at different ways to improve the diagnostic outcome for the patients. A lot of that was driving new visual AI and procedural assistance for some difficult procedures like ERCP, endoscopic retrograde cholangiopancreascopy, and helping with that. I was really involved in getting people from early proof concept through getting demos in front of key decision makers and getting the ball rolling for do we go forward with this or not, making those decisions.
George, in the interest of time, I'm going to paraphrase the question. People should call George if they
have somebody that knows wearables, AI, and medical devices and can get things through the gauntlet.
Then you'll want to talk to Jose Borges.
Yeah.
So
so instead of looking into the abyss every day, I mean, I do apply and go through that whole hamster wheel of application, rejection. When I'm not doing that, I'm working on a passion project. So this has also given me an opportunity to put a spin on the ideas that I've had in the past. A couple of years ago, I was working on a sleep therapy device that I had an early proof concept and started kind of building some momentum and started putting a pitch deck together for a proposal for a startup. And then I changed jobs and then the job went away. And then I went through depression and then now I'm resurfacing. I'm saying, well, here's an opportunity to work on this again. There are consumer grade sleep band therapies that are out there. My motivation is having something that's clinically viable for targeting a population for those that have mild cognitive impairment and age-related memory issues that a sleep therapy band could actually be beneficial for. And the key point is there's research around the slow wave sleep cycle during sleep, that if you can reintroduce through closed loop stimulation the delta wave back into the sleep pattern, it can help reduce the cognitive decline or cognitive impairment. The problem is there's not enough longitudinal studies out there. So my goal is to try to get in contact. I've actually been in contact with one CEO for one of the bands, trying to get the attentions for another couple of the companies, and making incremental headway on that to look at getting out of the consumer space and what it would take to kind of move that into the medical space.
I put in a private chat for you, Michael Swartfager's link. He's a 10X alumnus who's working on a version of sleep apnea product. And I'll just mention, but in no way, shape, or form can overpromise, because it's very difficult for me to get his ear. But I'm Mick Farrell, the CEO of ResMed, is our two-time
I'm
speaker.
familiar with this. I'm familiar with the sleep apneas, and in fact, one of the posts that I put on LinkedIn was how the parallelism between the adoption of CPAP 30 years ago is kind of where I see the sleep therapy devices for cognitive impairment is where we're at. And the problem is we don't have reimbursement codes for it. So how do you get to that? So I've actually submitted an abstract for a poster for the Sleep 2025 conference in June. Who knows if I will get submission on acceptance on that, but if I do, I'm going to go.
I'll jump around then, and you use the magic R word, and that means I'll say Nick Anderson's the guy you need to talk with.
Okay.
Nicky had his. If George may not know your background, he's a big fucking deal when it comes to reimbursement, right? Can we just say that?
Excellent.
What would be your advice to George as he says, well, there's no CPT code, so who knows if there's even a path here?
Yeah, if there's not an explicit code, you can use an unlisted code, but those stink because payers deny them almost instantly.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if you have an unlisted code, that means you couldn't get a legitimate code, so we're not going to pay for it.
Yeah.
It is almost a de facto investigational and experimental if you use an unlisted code, but you can get paid for them. It's just usually not the rates anybody wants, and it's a little bit more of a rigmarole, but we can talk and I could give you whatever info you'd like. But yeah, that's always a difficult one. To get a new code, a new CPT code at least takes about 3 years and tons of evidence. To get a new HCPCS code only takes about a year, 6 months to a year. And HCPCS code, HCPCS level 2, so the device code, those are relatively easy. You don't have to have any data at all to get the code, but then you have to have all the same data you would need for a CPT code to get those codes reimbursed.
Right.
So you could get a HCPCS code within a year for the device, but no one will pay for it. So it's like, well, now I'm back to where I was. I now have a code that calls me out that nobody pays for. So
yeah, well, this is good information because if I don't land a paying gig between now and late summer, I'm actually looking at applying for a grant for maybe SBIR through NIH to put together a pilot study to help collect some of this data that would be beneficial for some of this stuff. For
Sue Carr, not on the phone today, unless she just joined now, is an entrepreneur, and she's gotten very far with her company on the strength of her grants. So perhaps that's another resource for you.
But I'm having fun looking into this stuff, and I'm keeping myself relevant and keeping the wheels moving and stop staring into the abyss. And it's what I'm doing. Keep myself positive.
Just because he put in a special note, we love Rick Stockton. He says, I'm R. Don't forget about me. I don't want you to run out of time, so I'm gonna mix it up and just throw in an R in the middle of all this. So
Thank
Rick,
you.
what do you have to share with us?
Okay, and a little of this, Joe, you'll recognize from our conversations, which go back several years. But, oh, I wanted to mention, George, I spent like 10 years helping people find work and work out new approaches to doing that. I used it myself to get into consulting and when I was 50 many years ago, and glad to help. If you want to give me a call, bump ideas back and forth off each other, see what we have. I'm easy to reach, and my phone number is just about to come up because if anyone taps that link in the chat, you'll get to something new that I'm working on. So often people say, "What do you do?" And we go into this long explanation and nobody remembers a word of it. So what I've got is a little link to a graphic, and it is the simplest flow chart you've probably ever seen, but it helps. So the summary of that is if you need medical mechanical design, I can do it for about half the price of the large design houses with twice the flexibility, 3 times the cross-discipline connections, and 4 times the depths of experience, at least in the mechanical area. And then I've got some contact information. But I've got some old clients coming back, but I'm looking for new ones. And so I'm excited about the new year, and it's always an adventure. It has at least been for the last 16 years of consulting. But this is what I do, and I'm looking for easier ways to say it. So any comments on that approach, bring them back to me. I'm always looking for new ways to communicate with people and to learn how to deal mostly remote with an occasional on-site, whether it's in Seattle, California, could be up in Vermont, it could be anywhere. So anyway, that's what I do. And if that's helpful, and if you want to know a lot more details, my website is at the very bottom.
Just primarily because it amuses me. Sorry. I'll just show my screen for a second here. This is my approach to what you shared there, Rick.
Okay. All right.
So
I'm screenshotting.
I think it gets clipped is watch this amusing cat video. I don't even know if that works anymore. But yeah, we could talk. I mean, this is clearly tongue in cheek, but this
But that's cute and silly, and I like it.
Maybe an even simpler way to tell your story than the one that you have. Let's see, share off. Do I have share off?
Still sharing.
Yeah, I sure am. Well, I'll figure that out in a moment. In the meanwhile, Josue, can you see and tell us what you are working on?
Very nice to see everyone. Hope you had a great New Year's. Very excited about 2025. We did an analysis about where our company is standing, our consulting firm is standing in Mexico, in comparison with other consulting firms that are also authorized representatives in Mexico. And we ranked number 3 out of 47. So we definitely want to move up to number 2 as the top 2 authorized representative consulting firms in Mexico. That's our goal for 2026, but we have to work hard during 2025 to do this. And we're also trying to position ourselves in the cosmetic and dietary supplement industry. That's a new industry that we opened 2 years ago. So definitely shifting a little bit away from medical devices, even though there's a lot going on a lot of updates, regulations, but I definitely need some time to focus on that two industries to grow and to tap into that market. We're also launching our QMS fully, so we're looking for a certification on ISO 9001 by 2026. And during this year, we're also looking for a certification for a social responsible entity. That's a certificate that you get in Mexico. And a lot of this matches with the ISO 9001, the proofs that you have to submit. And we've been working on this for like 2 years now. So definitely working on certifications to add value to our clients and to whatever we do in the consulting firm. And we're also looking into strengthening our market intelligence services. So we have a very good service that's a distributor search service, and we're creating more data intelligence on the key players in Mexico. We're trying to rank them. So we're working with other collaborators on this analysis that we're doing in the Mexican market. We are also, I'm gonna be working on an event that we're gonna have in 2026, hopefully March, April of 2026 in Mexico. So we want to bring international experts into Mexico to talk about what's happening in the world in the medical device industry. But we also want to position, the goal is to position Mexico in the world. A lot of the events happening in Mexico are only talking about Mexico, and we see the same speakers all over again. Every time it's the same. So we're definitely trying to shift that into 2026. So I'll be working throughout the year on this planning with a partner that I have. And finally, we're launching trainings, industry trainings like medical device, quality affairs, advertising, dietary supplements, cosmetic trainings by Q3. So we're going to be testing some trainings during Q1 and Q2, and officially launch them as a service in Q3. And something that I would need from the group, and I think it's something that you provide already, is to talk about software as a medical device and digital health products regulations. That's something that is new in Mexico. It is a new category in medical devices in Mexico as of 2023, end of 2023. So it's something that our regulatory team is gaining knowledge on. And the whole industry in Mexico is gaining knowledge on software as a medical device. And there's a thin line with digital health products that are not regulated, but they should follow a certain type of regulations in order to comply and get into the market. For example, privacy law. That's something very important for digital health products.
Maybe for clarification, are you saying that the group will help you gain more knowledge? You'd like
Yeah.
more content about that?
Yeah,
And I'd
exactly.
also like to ask, do you foresee the new American administration changing your strategy at all?
Very interesting.
So
Question.
we don't, we do imports. We do import products from different parts of the world into Mexico, but we don't necessarily export products into the US. Our company doesn't. So in terms of the tariffs that have been, they've been talking about the increase in tariffs in the US. I don't think that's gonna affect us. It might affect some of our clients for sure if that happens, the tariffs and getting products into the US. In terms of regulations,
In terms of marketing and having your message be heard, that's a top of mind topic. So if you do have experts at your company, whether it's what you're selling or not, just to keep your name fresh, and if someone says, if Mexico, then Josue is the guy I need to talk to, that might be a reasonable way for you to get some airtime. I'm going to move on to the next person because we're running a bit late. Hyben, where are you? I don't see your camera. And characteristically, there we are. Merry Christmas to you, sir.
Thank you. Same to you.
How can we do something good for you this year?
Oh, the same as you always were. I'm just a simple engineer, but I don't think you can
You're
do.
not simple. A show of hands here who thinks that he is simple.
No.
Oh, okay. Well,
She put up her
spouses
hand.
don't count.
She doesn't count. Oh, she counts a lot. No, I don't think. I think I'm in the same league with Rick. I don't think you can be a proper engineer if you don't know anything about regulations. You don't know anything about marketing. You don't know anything about reimbursements. You don't know anything about business logic, about international way of doing business, about how to spread your knowledge within your company and to other companies. So you give me a lot of knowledge on how to do that the right way. I'm just how do you call it? The English translation is that I'm a wage slave. So I just do my job for a proper wage.
You are bringing us a friend on the 17th. Who have you attracted to be our speaker?
That's Benjamin de Jonge. He works at a startup that makes a new chip for physiological measurements. And so he's the company is a hardware company who makes a dedicated chip for measuring EEG, EMG, that kind of stuff. And then with higher resolution, better quality of signal, the works.
That'll be an interesting conversation.
He will probably have a good presentation. He will be at the CES that's starting next month.
I think next week.
Next week. So if any one of you is over there, they can pay him a visit.
You to make an introduction. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Maya, we're glad to have you back. We had to go a number of Fridays without you.
Well, thanks for having me back. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I guess it really in short, for those of you who don't know, I work for a company called PowerMedic, which is headquartered in Denmark. It was started by my dad in 1982. We make laser therapy equipment, which is a medical device that, in very short, helps your body heal itself faster, accelerates the natural healing. And mainly lasers are used to, or these types of lasers are used for like sports injuries and chronic pain and inflammation, just a plethora of different indications. And in the past 10 years or so, we've also seen really good results using our lasers for women struggling with fertility. A lot of clinics in Denmark and Norway are seeing really good results with this, and we are starting to see a lot of interest in that here in the US as well. So our focus, I guess I would say this year, is to expand on that, spread the word on that, and help some more women get pregnant and have babies.
And when we spoke at any depth, you are American marketing for the company. Is this just you? And how stretched are your resources? It's good that you want to do that, but at what cost and trade-offs, and how are you going to attempt to accomplish all that? Do you need more brains and hands to accomplish what you need this year? And do you have any budget for it?
That's a good question. I mean, I do get some help from my colleagues in Denmark at our headquarters. We do also have a handful of distributors around the US. But yeah, I do a lot of different things for sure in the company. I have been thinking about possibly, like a VA. I think you've mentioned that to me before. That
is fantastic. I recommend her to anyone who will listen.
Right. So that might be a possibility at some point. Yeah, it would be great to hire on some more help, but I don't think we really have that in the budget right now. So yeah, it's a little bit of a juggle, I guess.
It's a reminder for me to make available to you. My virtual assistant mothers me She checks in on Joey. How is he doing? And there's nothing administrative that she can't take off my plate. So, you know, if I'll share with you that my when I take a client, which is not very much these days, but my billable rate is $425 an hour. That's a lot of Ann. For a $425, she'll cover a very long time of tasks that I just don't need to do. And if I say 1 hour, which is silly, she saved me 10, 20 hours for that. So think broadly. I mean,
Right.
I've trusted her with my credit cards, my bank statements, my QuickBooks, everything. She's a wonderful person and caring, and she has the time and can take on a new client. So if there's anything you can delegate so that you can be more productive, you know, I'm confident, Maya, that your time is worth more than $35 an hour. So if there's a whole bunch you can offload and pick up days worth of productivity, it's so worth it.
Okay, good to know. Well, and I think that's the tricky thing. It's like, what could I actually delegate? I'm sure there's lots, but you know, like how you often think, well, I have to be the one doing X.
Right. I know. And this is like me back in 17, when I finally took the leap and I got a VA. I was like, you know, hey, she doesn't know who Daniel is versus Eddie versus Richard. How could she possibly? Well, not only over time, yes, she does, but like, how is she gonna let people into the group? How is she gonna moderate a conversation? All I do is I do what I do and I record my screen. I send her a video and she can replicate it. And she has a question, she'll send it to me on Slack. It is seamless. She's a quick study. She's done very complex spreadsheet manipulation for me. Truly, you're probably thinking like, oh, by the time I teach her, I could have done this. Yeah, for the first time or two. But when you realize, well, every 3 months I have to submit my B&O taxes and such. Sean, you're sharing your screen. Is that intentional?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, that's certainly something I want to consider a little bit more. But I guess as far as what the group might be able to help with, I guess one is, so a lot of the interest that we're seeing here in the US in laser therapy for fertility is from acupuncturists and holistic health practitioners and those types of practitioners and clinics. So I guess if any of you know of anyone that might be interested in trying out laser for fertility in their clinic, or if you know of any conferences or trade shows that might be good for me to go visit or exhibit in, please do let me know. And then I guess another question might be, our lasers are FDA cleared. So they're class 2 medical devices, class 3B lasers. They're FDA cleared for, temporary relief of pain and inflammation and joint pain and muscle relaxation and increase in blood circulation, sort of like a broad description, I guess. And so I guess I'm kind of wondering, like, how can we tell people that it also seems to help with fertility without it sort of, getting in trouble with the FDA, I guess.
That's the first thing I'm thinking. It's not an indication, so I don't know what that plan is.
Right.
So yeah,
And maybe that's a question for Michelle or someone in.
Michelle would
Verna. Hold on. Verna?
If you're making a medical claim, it's a medical device.
Oh, sorry, say that again.
If you make a medical claim, it's a medical device. It doesn't matter what the design of it is. It's all about your claims, meaning what do you put on the label? What are you telling patients? What are you putting on your website? All of that is considered labeling in the FDA's regulation. So if you want to truly get into a market to where it's outside of just acupuncturists and, a lot of things that acupuncturists and chiropractors sell are supplements, things that are not controlled by the FDA. So if you want to be a real medical device, then you need to start gathering clinical data.
In the interest of time, I'll say, please speak to somebody who's deeply regulatory knowledge before you spend any time or money here, because that sounds scary to me.
Joe, real quick, someone she could speak with is Scott Nilsson. Scott started the company Joovv, Joovv, which is in photobiomodulation therapy.
Right.
By the way, Scott just raised $19 million last week.
Hmm.
I got an alert of him raising that money at Boston Scientific. It was
Wow.
that big of a deal for his
Wow.
intravascular lithotripsy.
When I think of my early conversations with him, how far he's come.
Yeah, I mean, it's
a whole
incredible.
webinar in and of itself.
You know, PCOS is an oxidative stress problem, and lasers, anything in the photobiomodulation realm, red light, near infrared, has incredible evidence. Like, I'll just say, if I hadn't personally done the research on photobiomodulation therapy, I would have thought it was like,
go on,
hippie, weirdo, like, yeah, shine a light on it and it'll fix it. But I subscribe to the Journal of Photobiology and Photochemistry. I've read every article that's come out in the last 2 years.
Continue to
It's
amaze.
the real, it's the most incredible, simple solution for so many things, lowering blood pressure, on and on and on. But I would recommend speaking with Scott Nelson because of his experience at Joovv, and could kind of point you in some really interesting directions, especially in wound therapy. So
There's probably some content on MedCider, which is his side project, MEDSIDER. In the interest of time, let's move to Mark. We'll just say quickly, you spoke with us at length our last session or the session before about clean spaces, and you're doing a raise. Is there anything you'd like to add that's incremental? I know you want 3 investors for 50,000 each. Anything else you want to share with the group?
No, I'm just throwing it out there because I'm just keeping that out there for the people who keep coming through here. I appreciate the group and appreciate if you know people who have raised money or looking to spend money or get into something that's not available right now through any software application at all, but is hugely needed. Regulatory and quality will tell you it's hugely needed. And that's where I'm at in the quality world. So I'm just trying to get this up and running so we can get that out there and get into medical device, pharma, biotech, anybody who's got clean rooms, basically. That's what this software is for. It's for reporting, it's for recording and reporting, it's for compliance. And if you look at the warning letters by the FDA, there's a whole lot of people out there not following their rules for environmental controls. So it's causing problems.
Quite a hook for you from a marketing standpoint. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle Mitchell, if you'll come back on camera, I know you're working on a couple things that maybe we could help you with. We can't hear you. Now I can.
Okay. Yes, thank you for everybody. Happy New Year to everybody. And 2024 was a good year. I was able to push another prototype to our Australian client, and the owner in Taiwan was pretty pleased. So 2025, my to-do list, or my do list actually, is to bring their Class 2A DVT and lymphedema product to be MDR compliance, and we're working with TÜV SÜD. So hopefully by end of 2025, before further changes to MDR, then we can, get it in. Other than that, I think I would really like to bring the DVT and lymphedema product to the US market. Those 2 devices are considered expensive, even though they're 510(k) clear by FDA, but we have been trying for 2.5 years, almost 3 years, and having trouble bringing it in. And I did try to go the VA route. So I have a Hage code now, but still there's just no way in. So those are the things I would like to get some advice and help. And if there's a consulting fee, I can talk to the manufacturer owner and he probably will willing to put up.
But so your ask is how to commercialize in the United States?
Right. So, those products is being utilized in Australia, Malaysia, Singapore.
George, is this something that you could maybe work on? Mr. Duval? Is that is part of the scope of your expertise to help Michelle potentially bring a product to commercialize in the US? You're on mute, George.
It's possible. I just don't. I don't have a broad enough network to get that going. But I'd be willing to take a look.
Okay.
I sent you, George, a link so that you can have conversations on our platform, and I can put you directly in touch with Michelle. Patricia,
Thank you.
you bet. If you can at least come off mute and tell us what we can do for you this year. And I think she's dropped off entirely.
He's gone.
Yeah, she is. Verna?
You muted.
There, okay. Didn't network second time around. So I am still working at UC Berkeley and UCSF. I'm the executive director there. And we have expanded our program. Director of the Translational Medicine Master's Program. So after, for folks who don't know me that well, after 40 years plus in medical device development at large and small companies, I started teaching, fell in love with it. I said, all right, Berkeley's my alma mater. This is like, a job that fell out of the sky. It's like, I've got to do it. So this is my third year, and we just started, I'm expanding the program. It's been about 30 students a year. And our benefactor, though, was Andy Grove of Intel.
Sure.
Started our program. And his vision was to expand this program to grow to eventually about 100 students. And so when I came on board, it had been flat for, the last 10 years or so. And so I was kind of looking at the program. I thought, well, devices is too narrow based on the kind of vision, and also what I thought in the Bay Area here, San Francisco Bay Area, lots of biotech. And so we started this year with a new therapeutics track. I'm in the middle of now applications for students for the next year because we're a one-year master's program. So, so I think anything that is therapeutics, drug, biotech is of interest to me in terms of people that are speakers. We run capstone projects that are sponsored by industry as well as clinicians and faculty, not just Berkeley and UCSF, but even in the broader Bay Area, or even broader, as long as people are going to be here once a month in person to interact with students.
So can it be virtual? It has to be in person?
Yes, it can be virtual, but it needs to be in person once a month.
Okay.
And also, so that's kind of, now that we're out of COVID, it's clear that students really want speakers that are in person. They want capstone sponsors that are in person, because a lot of the work that the students do, which would be some hands-on development or design work, is a portion of it, would be in a lab. And so the lab really needs to be something that the sponsor owns so that they can maintain their own intellectual property. And our students learn not only engineering, but also all the things that some of the engineers here said, like, yeah, you need to know all the other stuff. We teach reimbursement strategy, intellectual property, regulatory affairs, quality systems. I teach design control. And so I'm always looking for guest speakers, but again, in person, if you're willing to come.
Do you have a budget to bring people in?
No, we are the
You are
UC. We basically.
Thought I'd ask. Thought I'd ask.
I took a salary cut of like a half of my salary.
I'm sure you
just
did.
do this job. It's a passion project.
Yeah.
But anyways, for folks that, if you want to feel, I'll tell you, like I started, lecturing. Gosh, I guess it was about 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago. And I was like, man, if you want to It's 60 years old because I'm trying to kind of wind things down. It's because I'm thinking, well, maybe I don't want to past 70. I don't know, but I keep loving this job. But if you want to feel like a rock star at 60 years old, go start teaching because students are hungry for the knowledge you have, and connect with your alma mater, or there are not enough people from industry lecturing and providing things to universities, and students are hungry for real life case studies. And so if you've been in industry like George, Andre, Rick, all these,
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
bet that could extend your timeline, George. If you had a little teaching income, maybe you can go past summer for your personal
I'm
goals.
actually a part-time adjunct at a local college.
There you go. Okay.
That's supplemental, but yeah, it's like a
yeah,
serious cut.
Yeah.
What I was
it's a
doing.
serious cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
And
so I've
and
loved
it's
it.
part-time.
So anyways,
Last
so
but
I'm
not
here.
least is our host, Sean. Sean, what do you want to see out of this year?
Oh my God, there's so many things. Good Lord. So I actually had an interesting year in 2024. I started the year with one client that was hanging on by a thread. I was
They were, or you were hanging on to their business by a thread?
I was hanging onto their business by a thread and barely able to make payroll, had gone into debt the previous year because it was post brain surgery.
He means literally brain surgery, by the
Yeah,
way.
I had brain surgery and interesting medical device adverse event if anybody wants to hear about it. And it recovery was supposed to be a week. I was incapacitated for 3 months on a very high dose of steroids due to the brain swelling. And when I stopped taking the steroids, I would lose consciousness. So there were several ER visits and ICU stints, and it was terrifying. I got over that. That was February of 2 years ago. Went through the year, strung the business along. This past year, business has exploded. When I talk to people, they're like, "How can I work with you?" I somehow agreed to take on 10x as a pet project, as a passion project of my own. And I am very excited. We're going to be sharing all of the launch materials this week, the updated website. And what I'm going to ask you to do is if you even think that you might want to go or participate in some way in helping us promote it, that you just click on the LinkedIn attend button. It doesn't obligate you to anything. You and I will have a conversation, and that will be it. I don't hard sell anything. In fact, when I work with clients, they're usually telling me we want to work with you, and I'm like, well, I don't know if I can help you.
He leaves the hard selling to me, Andre Domino.
And show, I mean, but what we're doing with 10x this year is we're shortening the speaker presentations and doing a lot more interactive expert-led sessions. And the idea is to move people through the entire process of from conception to exit, the journey of a medical device, so that everyone is exposed. So I described 10x as a dude ranch last year, which is all consultants and vendors and no buyers. Our goal this year is to attract startups and investors as well. And so there's going to be some creative outreach. But last thing I want to mention is I recently purchased a subscription to a product called Zapirus, which is ZAP, like papyrus, but with a Z. And it is an incredible platform that allows you to basically find medtech manufacturers at any level to go in, and I'm going to have them on as a speaker because it is the ultimate medtech marketing tool if used properly. And so the session that I'll do with them is going to be like how to use this to your advantage. But effectively, the strategy is we found all the medtech manufacturers at a certain startup range, a certain employee size, a certain level of funding that are within 1 hour of Orange County, the 4 airports, within connected 2-hour flight of that area, and are going to be heavily marketing to these organizations to bring them to this event. So
Have
they,
them be our Valentine's Day speaker.
pardon me?
Have them be our I know that's the next available week.
Okay, I'm happy to. They're
It's interesting. I just looked at the site.
company, and the Jose is all introduced me to them. Barquez and Baroque.
Boro, you got me.
Okay, Jose B.
Yes.
And he and I just signed a contract for that. And it's not horrible. It's like $200 a month, right? For a basic level subscription, which is enough. If you're doing marketing, so if you reach out to them, be sure to say I sent you. But yeah, I mean, I just, big, so to be clear, to be transparent, I'm terrified. I'm terrified of live events. In-person conferences is something that I've managed to avoid for 25 years, aside from being an attendee. But as a satisfied attendee at medical device conferences for 25 years, I have to say that from a vendor perspective, from a attendee perspective, and from a speaker perspective, it is not a satisfying experience. So my mindset was to help turn this into a very satisfying experience. There were things that were so enjoyable about last year and so wonderful, and I wanted to accentuate those aspects of 10X and bring something new to it as well, which is a larger audience, which is what it needs. So I'm putting my marketing experience behind 10X because I believe in it, because I believe that Joe has built a powerful asset that should not be allowed to rot on the vine. And I'm asking you to simply support and share with your network the things that I share on LinkedIn. That's my ask. And I don't think that's asking too much.
I'll do it.
I'm in too if Joe's in.
Thank you, gentlemen.
He's not coming across the pond, but he's in. Oh, that's Nikki. Hold on just a second. Nikki, we're just finishing up the call. Can you hold on? Okay. I know, George, I promised we would talk afterwards. Sean, we typically do. My ADHD is like, yeah, I need a break. George, I think in your email you gave me your phone number. I'll make a point of calling you today.
Yep.
And Sean, I'll give you a text.
I'll be playing chess later on today, but that's all right.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Send me a text saying, "Can I call you now?" And I'll say, let me stop my clock.
Okay, fair enough. Thanks everyone for doing this. It gives us a good perspective and a good chance to reconnect about what's important for each of your projects. Yeah, I hope you took some notes about who you might be able to help and who might be able to help you. And we'll see you this time next week. Thank you, Sean, for coordinating. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.